From 3 doors down to 20 cars ready to crank it up. Fox Sports welcomes you to a match racing styled event that'll get you in the mood. Special select group, 20 drivers, including Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Jarrett. They're going to push their cars to the edge as they try and capture the first race of the new season. From the fast, famous, and furious Daytona International Speedway, it is time for the Budweiser Shootout. Let's take a moment to pause and reflect. Let's head trackside for opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, will you please rise and remove your hats as the Mainland High School Junior ROTC presents tonight's colors. And now, please welcome Dr. Tim McNeil as he delivers this evening's invocation.
Let us pray. Our God, as we pray this night for these who are those who have raced against time and have won, we pray that they may be able to heighten their sense of awareness that in each moment there may be connection between engine and instinct, between man and machine, and that as we too race against time, enable us to live our time in your time. Shalom and amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome Universal recording artist, singer for 3 Doors Down, Brad Arnold, as he performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and
Stirring pictures on a Florida night here in Daytona as drivers head to their cars. Pit road full of smiles, optimism, nervous energy, and incredible determination. And our Dick Berggren is standing by with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dick?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is surely one of the favorites to win tonight. In his last 3 appearances at the Budweiser Shootout, he has finished second, first, and second. Tonight, he has a new crew and a new crew chief, and he'll be starting deep in the field. Well, Junior, feeling racy?
Always. Looking forward to it. Been waiting for since the last lap at Homestead to get back in it. So we're ready to go tonight.
All right, good luck to you. To Matt Yoakum.
Well, Dick Berggren, Jeff Gordon chases his 3rd Budweiser Shootout victory, but with an all-star format and an interesting format tonight, Jeff, with a break and a pit stop. What's the strategy?
Well, you know, we're starting 11th here. See if we can't work our way to the front and watch those guys coming from behind, and you know, just kind of learn about the car and how the car is handling. And then, you know, during that break, if we need to make some adjustments, we will. But it's really just kind of get the bugs worked out. You know, it's been a while since we've really been in race conditions.
Jeff Gordon starts 11th tonight. He won here in 1994 and 97. Chris?
All right, thanks, Matt. At 10 career wins at Daytona for Jeff Gordon. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a transmission problem going to the back of the pack with Casey Kane. A 2005 season ready to get underway. Nice to have you here on Fox from Daytona. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Budweiser Shootout, brought to you by Budweiser. Fox Sports glad to have you along from the world-famous Daytona International Speedway. We're getting ready to go racing. Dale Jarrett won this event last year. 3 Budweiser Shootout wins. DJ is standing by with our Steve Burns. Hey, Steve.
Thanks a lot, Chris. The good news is Dale Jarrett does indeed start from the pole. The tough news is they chased a vibration in last practice last night. And Dale, I know you guys changed the drive shaft this morning. You're battling the flu. What's going to be the strategy tonight?
Just go as hard as we can. Hopefully we fix the vibration and we can keep this thing somewhere towards the front. And when it really counts down towards the end, we can find ourselves in the right place at the right time like we did last year.
As the defending and 3-time champion of this event, let's go to Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, DJ may have issues, but nothing strikes fear to the heart of the drivers like these 2 words, tire problems. Take a look at some tape. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the right rear tire. Similar situation for Jeremy Mayfield. What we're looking at actually happened during shootout practice last night. So you better believe Goodyear went back to the plant today to figure out what went wrong. Turns out these tires are from the same batch, a bad batch. So they retrieved and replaced over 300 tires today just to be safe. Goodyear saying they are confident everything has been taken care of. We'll find out, Chris.
All right, thanks, Jeannie. And in a few moments, the maddening world of speed and sound will engulf the track and your television. Right now, let's head trackside for those magical words.
And now, race fans, will you please welcome back Dan Francati, president of the Daytona Beach Kennel Club, for those most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And the drivers almost looking like superheroes, dressed and ready for action in their flyer suits. Let's take a look at the Budweiser Shootout format. Tonight's race, 2 segments, 1 short break in between. Cars can be worked on as if it was a normal pit stop in the final 50 laps. Well, we should have a wild finish. Our corporate headquarters, the Hollywood Hotel, we're open for business. Trackside as we continue to go to where the races are to bring you the action. Hi, I'm Chris Myers. For our entire crew, we welcome you to the 5th season of NASCAR on Fox. This is where America gathers every weekend to go racing. We hope you'll stay with us all the way through June for nonstop racing. Joined by my partner, as always, who you cleaned up real good, as they say.
Thanks.
Jeff Hammond, the Tom Brady of crew chiefs, because and teamwork. This is a good analogy because teamwork even more important, especially in tonight's event.
It really is, Chris, but you got to understand Tom Brady's got defense, but tonight here at Daytona, it's all going to be about offense. These guys are going to be charging to the front. First race of the year, everybody's got a lot of anticipation, and I think eagerness as far as getting up front, trying to lead, and kind of show what kind of strength they've got as far as these teams are concerned right here tonight.
All right, and great weather tonight. Cool right now, South Florida, but the skies are clear. I guess it's about 52 degrees as you get a check at the weather. And we've already heard from the 3 doors down. Let's go 3 flights up in the broadcast booth. The guys who will call it, Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy. Guys, good to see you. How you doing?
Good to see you, Chris, and all of you at home. It's good to be back with NASCAR on Fox. They've been running this race now 27 years. They started in 1979, and though the distance and the format has been altered slightly, the premise remains the same. It's a sprint race among the series' fastest qualifiers. The first year, Buddy Baker went to victory lane, beating Darrell Waltrip to the line. In year 2, it was Dale Earnhardt, and in year 3, Darrell broke through with his 1 win in this event to go along with 3 second-place finishes. So, Darrell, how does a driver approach this event?
Well, unlike Tom Brady, he knew what he had. Here tonight, we got a lot of unknowns. You got new people, new crews, new crew chiefs. You got new cars. You got a lot of things that are on your mind. Is this thing as good as I think it is? Or is it bad as I think it is? Those are questions that are going to get answered here over the next hour or so. And this is the start of a new year. And from a driver's perspective, I heard Jeff Gordon say, well, I haven't been out with these guys for a while, and I got to get out here and get loosened up a little bit. That's what tonight's all about, getting loosened up a little bit.
Larry McReynolds has been atop the pit box for quite a number of these shootouts. What opportunities does this present to a team coming into Daytona for Speed Weeks?
Well, there's a lot of challenges. You heard Darrell talking about new crews. A lot of these teams have new pit crew members. They have never made a pit stop on pit road under race conditions except in practice. And these guys will have one shot tonight to make that pit stop in the second segment that could determine whether you win or lose this race. And this is, like Darrell said, this is the 2005 season. It officially starts now. These guys were working well before 2004 ended on Daytona. Now in 70 laps, they're going to know just where they're at and just how good they are. And there's 7 Dodge Chargers in this field. This is the first official race for those Dodge Chargers.
And we'll see how they perform against the Chevys and Fords. Here's how they will line up for the 27th annual Budweiser Shootout. Dale Jarrett inside of the front row. He drew the pole. He's a 3-time champ. Greg Biffle alongside. Bill Elliott, the 87 winner of the shootout, and Brian Vickers in row 2. Ken Schrader, who won back-to-back shootouts, along with Kurt Busch, the Nextel Cup champion. Ryan Newman, who had 9 poles last year to lead the league, with Tony Stewart, a 2-time winner. Rick Erod, the Talladega pole winner, and Jeremy Mayfield, who swept the poles at Dover. Jeff Gordon inside row 6, who won the Bud Shootout twice, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Casey Kane, 4 poles during his rookie season, and Mark Martin, who first ran this race in 1982. The 98 winner, Rusty Wallace, with front row Joe Nemechek, who had 2 poles last season. Jimmy Johnson, who won a pole at Lowe's Motor Speedway, and Casey Mears, who won poles at Indy and Pocono. Bobby Labonte with a Texas pole, and Jeffrey Bodine, who is eligible as the winner of the 1992 shootout. That is the starting field, 20 cars strong, Chris.
All right, you want to signal the things to come maybe for the race a week from Sunday. 5 drivers who won the Budweiser Shootout went on to win the Daytona 500 in the same year. Dale Jarrett, the last to do it in 2000. The green flag is coming right up. So too the start of a new season of NASCAR on Fox. Drivers will spend the upcoming months traveling coast to coast in search of a title. But right now, the drivers are thinking as 3 doors down would sing "Live for Today." Glad to have you with us at the Budweiser Shootout, where the winner gets a leg up on next Sunday's Daytona 500 right here on Fox. Let's go back upstairs, rejoin Mike and the guys. Mike?
2 drivers will drop to the rear, Chris. Casey Kane changed an engine after the first practice yesterday, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. changed the transmission, so they will drop to the tail end of the field. Darrell, let's get a word with the 1987 Budweiser Shootout winner.
Bill Elliott, DW here. That old paint job you got there, buddy, that brings back a lot of good memories as you got the performance tonight.
I hope I can bring back a little of that magic from '85. The only thing I miss out here is having you to talk to like I did in '85.
Yeah, roger that. I was trying to help you, buddy. Your car looked good in practice. Do you think you can suck it up there and stay up front?
You know, we'll have this first 20 laps to kind of see how things play out. Then we still got another 50. You know, Hamlin's going to play a big part of it. See if we can get this Coors, do some good with this Coors car.
Well, it's good to see you out there, my man, and the car looks great. Good luck to you, Bill.
DW.
Well, let's get some late updates from pit road. Here's Matt.
Well, Mike, after weeks of practicing, the over-the-wall guys, it's opening night for them as well. Timmy Latica comes over to the Lowe's team. Jeff Gordon picks up 2 tire changers and a tire carrier this year. And all those big money intentions, the weeks of building up to this all-star event could all come down to what takes place in 13 or 14 seconds on pit road. Could be a huge night for the driver, but an even bigger night for these guys. Steve Burns?
Matt, there's so much energy in the Evernham Motorsports camp for drivers Casey Kane and Jeremy Mayfield. Jeremy said this afternoon, man, my full-time job in this sport as a driver, I was making $500 a week and working as a mechanic in the shop from 8 to 5, and I thought I was rich. To be where I am today is humbling and exciting. Dick Berggren.
Well, 4 drivers in tonight's race have never run the shootout before. Call them rookies, if you will, and 3 of them are youngsters. Casey Kane, age 24. Brian Vickers, a young 21. Casey Mears, just 26. And Greg Biffle, age 35. The race has been won 4 times by guys in their first start. Jeannie?
Well, this is a non-points event, but definite high risk. Speaking of Mr. Biffle, he is actually driving his Daytona 500 backup car tonight. He told me if he wrecks this puppy, he will have to go to a backup car that has not been tested, or maybe beg one of his teammates to borrow a car. And of course, it is handled with care for Bill Elliott, who literally has the fate of Sterling Marlin's Daytona 500 backup car. at his hands. That's the car he's driving tonight, guys.
Thanks, Jeannie. Next lap, they'll be under green. Let's hear from our Fox crew chiefs, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond. In this first 20-lap segment, what do you want your driver to learn about your car?
Well, I want him to let things sort out, but I need to know what that car is going to drive like for 20 green flag laps. And as Jeff Gordon alluded to, we have one opportunity to make adjustments, but then the big thing on my shoulders in that second segment is when to make that crucial pit stop.
Jeff, what kind of feedback do you want to get in these first 20 laps?
I wanted to try to figure out how comfortable he is as far as the car is concerned, and try to work as far as who is a good dance partner. You're really working to find out who can help you get to the front and keep your car up front, especially if you're able to lead this thing early on. And when you come down pit road, to make sure that you tell your crew chief everything is A-okay and whatever kind of adjustments we need to make, because when you come down for that crucial pit stop, you don't want to be having to make a lot of adjustments in. 4 tires in less than 13 seconds so you can get back out front.
Half a lap to green, Darrell. What's on your mind?
Listen, my heart's pounding away, but here's the thing. This is a 20-lap heat race. Now, you Saturday night racers know heat races don't pay a lot. I got to get to the feature. That's the 50 laps. But in the process, I got to be a data bank. I got to be telling my crew chiefs, here's what's happening every lap around this racetrack so they can adjust the car for me.
Do you need to lead in this first 20 laps if you can?
You got to do it. You need to experiment every way you can here. Can I fall back, and how quickly can I suck up? A lot of things you need to answer in this 20 laps because you don't have time in the 50 laps.
And being at the front keeps you out of the eye of the storm.
And there will be a storm. I don't know about y'all. I can't come to Daytona. I can't even stand up here and watch these cars come off of turn 4. My heart is pounding out of my chest. And butterflies, I got butterflies like I'm driving. My hands are sweating. Look at Larry. He's sitting on the hot stove with sweat and ice water.
Watch the pace car. That Corvette makes the hard left turn. It's on pit road. We're 1,000 feet from getting this show on the road.
DW, I've been waiting 7 months. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Last night in practice, we pretty much saw the low groove and the high groove was able to move. It wasn't like one groove had an advantage over the other.
Yeah, and Dale Jarrett jumped out there, which you can do from the pole, but watch how quickly they sack him up. He's a setting duck right out there.
Jarrett, Biffle, Vickers. Brian Vickers, the 25 to the inside, tracking Jarrett.
Now, this is good information for Dale. If they had a restart late in the race, he says, okay, if I get way out front, looks like he can handle it. They didn't catch him. They're lined up behind him, and he's leading around here 2 by 2. This is when you do what I call work both sides of the street if you're Dale Jarrett. Look in your mirror. When the inside line moves up, pull to the outside and just keep going backs and forth, trying to keep everybody behind him.
Dale Jarrett leads lap 1, but he's under pressure from Greg Biffle and the orange number 20 of Tony Stewart. They'll race 20 laps. They'll have a 10-minute break to work on the cars, then race 50 laps, which will include a pit stop. Winner goes home with more than $200,000.
Larry, that 16 car is picking up right where he left off at Homestead last fall.
I think he'll be one of the cars to watch here all week long. 20 cars started this race. 18 positions changed on that first lap.
Steve Burns.
Mike, Dale Jarrett's spotter, Bob Jeffries, has already told him after 1 lap, it looks like the high side is the fast side, and that's where DJ is right now.
Well, somebody forgot to tell Biffle.
I don't think
he scored it out with the lead.
Yeah, I don't think you can make that prediction on 1 lap. I think you got to let it sort out just a little bit here.
And guys, you want to keep an eye on that orange 20 car, Tony Stewart. To me, this is his kind of race. He likes these short sprint races.
A lot like Dale Earnhardt was. Dale, look at this 3 wide, wobbling and bobbling. Here they come. Oh, baby, hang on to her.
Vickers, they're caught in the middle. Is there a type of race Tony Stewart doesn't like? He ran the 24-hour race last weekend here. Riding with Brian Vickers.
Look at this.
Looking back at Dale Jr.
Give him a bump. Come on, get on up there.
And you'll hear us all the time talk about 3 wide. This racetrack is wide enough for 5 cars, but these cars bouncing around, juking around, that's when you get in trouble. You see Vickers, the 25 car, juking around off turn 4.
Yeah, well, there's so much turbulence. When you're behind all these cars, it just moves you around. You're in there trying to hold the wheel steady, but that thing jumps all over the place.
Biffle, Stewart, Bill Elliott up to 3rd with Casey Mears, Dale Jarrett. Kurt Busch, Jeremy Mayfield, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, and Jimmy Johnson, the top 10.
19 cars within 1¼ seconds of each other.
Here's Jeannie on the leader.
Well, Greg Biffle said to me earlier today that his car is exactly where he wanted it to be, where he plans it to be. He said, look, this car leads really well. It is really fast. Not so good in traffic, so I plan to stay out of traffic, stay out in front.
Well, you know what? I love it when a plan comes together, and that one is coming together pretty well right now.
Look at this gaggle back here. Things are not coming. They're coming together right here, but not in a good way.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, followed right here. Looking back at Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. These guys trying to work up the middle of this pack and get out of this eye of the storm.
I am really interested to see how Dale Jr. runs. He was 39 quickest in happy hour practice today, or in pre-qualifying practice today. That car did not look fast at all to me. I'm going to be interested to see how he fares tonight. On the other hand, Jeff Gordon looked like a rocket in practice today. And you know Jeffy, baby likes to rocket.
5 laps complete this time by. And Biffle is not giving anybody a chance at the lead. Tony Stewart has dogged in the last 3 laps, but has been unable to pull alongside.
Right now, it appears the top 3, Biffle in the 16, Stewart in the 20, and Elliott in the 39, they're pretty content to run single file with hopes that those guys behind them will keep running side by side and they maybe can pull away a little bit.
They just got their wish, Larry. Jimmy Johnson to the bottom. Casey Mears in the middle, and that's Kurt Busch, the purple car, up top. Jimmy Johnson breaks out for 4th place.
Spotters will start to tell these guys, hey, those front 3 are starting to pull away a little bit. You got to get in line. Let's do something here.
And if they will get in line, they can catch up in about a half a lap.
Here's Matt.
Chris Osborne, Jimmy Johnson's spotter's been coaching him on what line and what driver to try to hook up with. He just told him moments ago when the 88 was closing, Dale Jarrett's coming. Now Jimmy's on the bottom. He told me earlier today that's where he wants to be. That's where he feels like you will have the most grip.
Shuffle down. That's a 21 behind you now. So 21.
It's so important for the spotter to keep telling that driver who and where everybody is. Who are you around? Because it means a lot to the driver. He knows how much faith to put in that guy beside of him.
Well, that spotter is that driver's other pair of eyes. Very important.
Peripheral vision is pretty limited in these cars these days. Can't be looking around a lot, so you're really relying on the spotter.
One incident in practice yesterday. Casey Mears turned down in front of Ricky Rudd in the backstretch. Thought he had cleared Rudd. Minimal damage to both cars. Easily repaired.
Yeah, they actually got those cars back out on the racetrack before practice ended, and both of them said that their cars were still good.
Jeff Hammond.
What I've been watching so far, the guys that started up front, with the exception of Dale Jarrett, have been really looking really strong, and I'm wondering what's going on with this 88 car, because he's all the way at the back of the pack, and I'm sure this is not where he wants to be.
Well, Jeff, just remember, those guys fought a vibration last night. They had that car in about 100 pieces this morning. Steve Burns talked about them changing the drive shaft. You just wonder, did they really get the vibration?
But think about Daytona and Talladega and Dale Jarrett. What does he traditionally do? Go to the back. He will fall back and he will ride there, and when it comes time to show what you got, don't count him out.
Now, while these guys are running side by side, Ricky Rudd in the 21, Jeff Gordon in the 24, you see that pack right there. They were single file, the top 8 or 9 cars pulling away from this second pack.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 distinctive groups here. Obviously, there already is. And in the back group back there is that 8 car, and I'm telling you, it's just not performing for him.
9 cars, then 10, then Jeff Bodine alone by himself in a car that has never quite got up to speed. Greg Biffle leads the Budweiser Shootout.
Welcome back to Daytona, the Budweiser Shootout on Fox, brought to you by Budweiser. The bright color and crisp, clean taste you'll only find in the king of beers. And by Chevy, the winningest name in racing, Chevy, an American Revolution. With Jeff Hammond of the Hollywood Hotel, Greg Biffle, Vancouver, Washington, leading the way. In 2004, the pole sitter at the Daytona 500, his only career Bud pole at that point. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. having some problems.
Yeah, he's not really showing the muscle we're used to seeing when it comes to restrictor plate racing. And he's been back and forth, but he's definitely not been coming to the front like we really expected him to do early on. So I wonder what's going on.
All right, let's get a check on that and join Dick Berggren. Dick?
Well, Junior's not really sure what's going on other than he has lost the draft and then some. He said it's getting worse. He speculated that it may be a wire, a potential engine problem in car number 8.
Dick, he's losing 2 seconds per lap to the 18 cars that are in the lead draft, led by Greg Biffle and Tony Stewart, as Jeff Bodine drops down to the bottom of the racetrack, headed for the garage.
That's one of those unknowns. I mean, he's got a whole new crew he's working with, and these are not the cars he's accustomed to driving. Those are the 15 cars. And so, you know, he's got a lot of things to work through.
And the biggest thing Dick Bergman he's hoping for is to make it another 7 laps, be able to get it to that break and see what's going on with that car.
Well, he said a plug wire is off, or at least he feels as if a plug wire is off in that car, and it's all the way around the racetrack. Engine trouble for car number 8, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, if that's what it is, he can make it to the break. He'll be back in this thing if that's all it is.
Yeah, because he should not go a lap down, even losing 2 seconds a lap to the leader.
The man on the move, 5th in line, Ryan Newman, who led the league with 9 poles last year. The Purdue University engineering graduate has broken out of the second pack, and he is now running down the front 4.
And it'll be interesting to see if he can run those top 4 down, because right now the top 4 seems content to run single file.
I think he can, Larry. He's kind of in a catbird seat. He's got people in front of him sucking up, and people behind him are pushing him, so he should be able to get up there.
There's the interval, and you see it is coming down slightly, and now Newman has help. Casey Mears in the target Dodge. You see the new Dodge Charger shape on those machines as they try to gain some ground on the front 4. That 4-car lead draft is now 7.
I've been watching Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. He's just not going anywhere. He seems stuck back there in about 11th to 15th.
That's a big surprise. Watched him in practice last night. He looked so fast.
Here's Matt on Jeff Gordon.
An interesting comment Jeff Gordon made to me earlier today. He said that with a smaller plate, Mike, that the driver has to be even more mistake-free because the closing rate is not as fast as years past. So you've got to make the right move at the right time. Right now, he is just mired back in traffic. Jeannie?
Well, it is definitely early, but let's just say the attitude is upbeat in the 16 pit of Greg Biffle, because they tested this shootout car down here, and it is living up to the hype. The news is even better when you consider this. This car wasn't the fastest car they brought down here and tested. The Daytona 500 car tested much faster. Steve?
Well, Jeannie, we just heard Mark Martin call to his crew chief, Pat Trison, a relieved Mark Martin. He had a tire rub, and he said it has gone away, and he is relieved about that.
Well, we got some good racing up front here, guys. 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, and the 12 to Ryan Newman are closing on our leaders.
Casey Mears in that 41 car, he's worked his way up to the 5th position. Remember, Mike, you mentioned earlier he was involved in an accident last night.
And now, about now is when the handling really kicks in. Now is when the car starts to either be really, really good or starting to push like a dump truck.
I just want to follow up on what Matt Yoakum was talking about, the smaller plate. NASCAR reduced the size of the carburetor restrictor plate by a 64th of an inch. Remember, the carburetor restrictor plate takes about 400 horsepower away. That 64th of an inch took about 12 horsepower away.
And that's just throttle response. I mean, every time they reduce that plate size, it just reduces the amount of time it takes, or it increases the amount of time it takes for you to accelerate.
Stewart made a move. It looked like Johnson might go with him. Then they went right back in line. Jeff Hammond.
Mike, what I've been watching here, I think Larry touched on a minute ago, was Casey Mears. Started all the way back there at 18th. And again, he was involved in the spin out down on the back straightaway last night during practice. And a lot of times you worry about a driver losing some confidence when something like that happens, because he knows it was his mistake. And he almost took one of his competitors out. And after that, when he went over to talk to Ricky Rudd, well, they had a verbal exchange, and his crew chief, Fatback McSwain, they got kind of heated. So you always wonder if that's going to affect the guy. But right now, he's looking really strong as he tries to get underneath Tony Stewart and move up into 4th place. So he's definitely got a fast race car here tonight.
Did you see Ryan Newman bump draft Jimmy Johnson right up into 2nd place?
And not only did the 41 get in trouble last night, Casey Mears, but that also kind of makes you a little nervous when you get around him tonight, too.
Slow car. Oh, Mark Martin wiggling somewhat.
Left rear. Is that the left?
I should be able to make it, shouldn't I? To 20. 10-4, but we only got 2 more laps.
Mind.
This is number 19 here. We only got to run 1 more.
Here's Matt.
An interesting sidebar. I talked to Michael Fatback Swain, and he was joking about the incident last night because he lives right next door to Casey Mears. And I mean, the lot right next door. His dad called him this morning and said, should I just go by your house to make sure everything's all right? He goes, no, we're good.
Now, what Mark Martin in the 6 car is trying to do, you heard him talking to his crew chief, he's trying to get 1 more lap because that'll be lap 20. That'll end the first segment, but he has to hope that that tire does not come apart and tear the quarter panel off of it.
He'll be all right if he makes it around. The field will come around to 20 laps this time because NASCAR scoring freezes the field at the instant of caution. They're going to let the whole field cycle through the start-finish line, and then they will throw the caution flag. So at 20 laps, the leader is Greg Biffle. Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Ryan Newman, Casey Mears, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Brian Vickers, and Ricky Rudd are the top 10, and that's how the field will freeze. And
it's my understanding they actually will not throw the caution flag until the final car crosses the start-finish line. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 car, remember, he was looking for this break right here because we anticipate he maybe has a spark plug wire off. Good chance for them to fix that car.
And it looks like Mark Martin will stay on the lead lap. The teams will come pit side and make adjustments when we come back.
Welcome back to the Budweiser Shootout, brought to you by Budweiser. Fox, glad to have you with us from Daytona, and the 20-lap segment complete. Greg Biffle, your leader. Mark Martin, the left rear tire going down. Also, Dale Earnhardt Jr. having some problems with Jeff Hamlin. Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel getting ready for 50 laps, which should be an exciting finish with a 10-minute break. Let's check in now with Jeannie Zalasko.
Well, on the pace laps, crew chief Doug Reichert told the 16 team of Greg Biffle to treat this stop just like the real thing, a real pit stop, to knock the jitters off, make sure this whole thing works. Why? Because there's 3 new guys over the wall. Matt?
Service almost complete on Jimmy Johnson Chevrolet. He said the car was starting to go to the tight side in the center of the corner and then loose on exit, meaning the back end wanted to start to come around. But he said the corner entry was awesome, Dick.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s hood is up, and that is no surprise. It surely sounds like an electrical problem. He said it started when he was in the middle of one of those 3-wide deals, then it went away, and then it came back with a vengeance. He keeps saying it feels like a plug wire is off. Right now, 4 mechanics are under the hood trying to diagnose just what has gone wrong to the engine on Dale Earnhardt's car. Steve.
Dick, Mark Martin came into his pits very slowly. Crew chief Pat Trison just told Mark, your left rear tire is a mess. Mark said this car, when I put it in neutral, is vibrating so badly it feels like a wheel is busted. Pat is looking at the situation right now. He told Mark, let's just find out what the problem is before we do anything else. Now they're going to jack it up. Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Steve. And how about it for Dale Earnhardt Jr.? I think a plug wire fell off. Explain that for us.
Well, what he's talking about right now is a lot of times when you put the plug wire on, just like you would normally do in your regular passenger car, sometimes it doesn't click like it needs to. And what that means is when you're out there running around the draft, there's so much turbulence from time to time. If the wire's not on properly, it will literally just kind of like disconnect, and all of a sudden you have a dead cylinder, and that's what he's probably feeling. Early on, it was kind of in that 3-way battle up through there. That's probably when it's occurred, if that's what it actually happened. You see the team continually work primarily on the right side trying to find the problem.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting from the rear of the field because of transmission problems. Let's check in on Jeff Gordon with Matt Yoakum.
Chris, Jeff Gordon started 11th. He's now up to 8th. He says the car needs to be freed up a little bit. Not an aggressive change, just a slight change. But he also made a comment to crew chief Robbie Loomis. Take a look at the nose of the car. He said, I beat on the back of the 21 car, Ricky Rudd, pretty good. He said Ricky would open up a hole, and then when Jeff would start to make his move, Ricky would close it. So he was doing a lot of bump drafting out there, but the nose of that 24 car looks pretty decent.
All right, thanks. 12th Budweiser Shootout for Jeff Gordon, a 2-time winner. Greg Biffle, your leader after the first segment, leading 19 of the 20 laps. Dale Jarrett, who started on the pole, led the other lap. We've got 50 laps to go. We'll be back here from Daytona in just a moment. We're at the break at the Budweiser Shootout here in Daytona. Greg Biffle taking the lead after the first 20 laps. We have 50 to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr., some problems. Let's get an update. Check in with Dick Berger. Dick?
Well, right now the hood is up, but the majority of work is going on inside the car where much of the ignition system's electronics are located. There are 2 electronic boxes in there. They are on a plate. That entire plate has been removed. The boxes are out. New ones are in. There's 2 mechanics outside working and a couple inside working as well, trying to get this going. I talked to Ryan Newman, who's been fast, asked him which lane is fast, top or bottom. He said depends on who's going with you. Matt?
Well, down here in the 24 pit, Jay Lupo and Steve Berg just finished making some cosmetic alterations to your front of your car there, Jeff, putting some tape up there. So there's some good beating and banging going on?
Yeah, you know, I got shuffled back there at the beginning. They stopped in front of me, and unfortunately, I got the inside lane, so we went to the back. But we got a good car. DuPont Chevrolet feels strong, handling really good. But we just got stuck back there, and I was trying to beat the rear bumper off of Ricky Rudd to try to move us up there. Eventually, we finally did get up there, but not without some damage to the front end.
Well, he will restart from the 8th position. Steve?
Matt, before the race, 2004 Nextel Cup champion Kurt Busch told me his car was good, real good. How was it after 20 laps, champ?
Wasn't too bad. I chose the wrong lane early on, whether to go with Vickers or my teammate Greg Biffle. We went straight to the back, but the car worked its way back towards the front, and then we just couldn't break free of that side-by-side action around 5th or 6th place. So we're just going to make a few small adjustments, and this will be the longer run where it should spread us out a little bit, and then that will enable us to maneuver our way towards the front, I hope.
All right, they added a little piece of tape to the front grille. We go to Jeannie Zelasco.
Yes, tape for everyone. That is what we saw at the 16 car as well. Tape going on the grill. We got a left rear tire going on. I'm going to make my way over the jack here. Mr. Biffle, you told me earlier that you just had to get out in front. This car would be fast. I guess you weren't kidding. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm really happy. The National Guard car is real good. Just nervous about this pit stop. We're having a little trouble with the left rear tire. The wheel well is pretty tight, but you know, as long as I can stay out front, but it looked like those guys are about ready to make a run at me there from behind. So just as long as I got some help up there, we'll be all right.
All right, pit strategy, as we have obviously, you're going to have to make a stop for some fuel here in the second. You want to share any insight?
Yeah, we're talking about maybe 2 tires. We definitely think we need to put tires on it, but not sure whether 2 or 4 tires. So we're just going to try and see what everybody else does.
All right, thank you, sir. Best of luck.
All right, thanks, Jeannie. 35-year-old Greg Biffle, your leader. Jeff Hammond, so far so good, but over these final 50 laps, you were talking to some of the drivers beforehand in the garage. Egos might bring this up a notch. We might have a little more intensity here.
I think so, Chris. When you start thinking about there's over $211,000 on the line, plus this being basically the first big race of the year, a lot of egos are going to kind of come out. And I think what you're going to see in these final 50 laps is possibly the big one. That could be what's going to happen right there.
The big one could be a big mess. Right now, Jimmy Johnson moved up to 2nd. He's right behind your leader, Greg Biffle. More than $1 million on the line here at the 27th annual Budweiser Shootout. Fox, glad to have you with us here from Daytona. The Budweiser Shootout on Fox, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By Nextel. Nextel helps groups get things done. Nextel, done. By Pizza Hut, home of the new Dippin' Strips Pizza. Grab a strip and you're destined to dip. And by Office Depot, the official office products partner of NASCAR. We'd like to welcome Office Depot to the NASCAR Nextel Cup family. Remind small business owners to visit their local Office Depot to find out how their business can win designation as the official small business of NASCAR and be featured on the '99 Office Depot car. The winner will be announced under the lights in Darlington on May 7th. Worth the break to the Budweiser Shootout. Greg Biffle, the leader after the first 20-lap segment. Let's check in on the continuing saga of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dick Bergman with the latest. Dick?
Well, thanks, Chris. They did change the ignition boxes in Junior's car. They also pulled all 8 plugs. And look at this one. It's white. And there's a strong suggestion that there was one cylinder that wasn't firing. He has 8 new plugs in the car. We'll see what Junior can do from the back. Steve.
Hey, Dick, just talked to some of the guys on Mark Martin's crew. This is the left rear tire that came off Mark's car. You can see the inner liner, which is a safety feature here on the super speedways. And, in fact, somebody else made contact with Mark's car. There was a tire rub. That's what happened to this tire. Back upstairs.
Well, now we're going to go from 20 to 50 laps, Steve. And let me first ask Darrell Waltrip. We saw only one lead change, Greg Biffle dropping underneath Dale Jarrett. But the move that impressed me was Ryan Newman pushing Jimmy Johnson along to take second and third from Tony Stewart.
So that answered one of those unknown questions. Who can I dance with? Looks like the 48 Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman. Looks like that's a good marriage right there. They're going to set that up and try to get by Biffle, and then they'll settle it amongst themselves. And it looks like there might be a little jubilation over in Budville.
Larry, now we've got to go 50 laps. Are you going to plan your pit stop on your fuel window or maybe your tire window?
Well, I think we're going to see a couple of agendas there. I talked to a lot of crew chiefs this morning. We still have 19 cars out there. The biggest thing, you want to be in there with other cars where you don't lose the draft, but you do not want to be in there with a big pack with big congestion on pit road. I think we're going to see some teams break it down to 25 and 25. I think we'll see some teams stretch it another 8 or 10 laps with hopes of getting a caution and burning those guys that pitted a little early.
I'll give you a new word. Co-opetition.
Co-opetition.
Co-opetition. That's when the teammates are going to work together.
I know one question we did answer in that first segment. It appears that the Dodge Chargers look awfully good, especially 2 or 3 of them.
All right, we're getting close to going back to green, Chris, as Mark Martin rolls down pit road.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm looking up co-opetition. It's not a legitimate word.
It's in Walter's dictionary.
All right, well, it's a very small dictionary. A quick recap. The night started with the feeling of a grand opening event, maybe an all-star event with the drivers, the 20 drivers taking place. Either had to win a Bud Pole or be a former winner in this event. Fireworks, beautiful night here in Daytona, Florida. Once they got started with Dale Jarrett on the pole, led for 1 lap, and then Greg Biffle making the move, taking over, led the rest. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with problems.
Yeah, right there toward the end of the deal, he lost ignition. Looked like he had to fall back. During the break, he was able to make a change and got that problem hopefully fixed. Mark Martin had a flat tire, limped on around, didn't lose a lap, so he's back on the lead lap and got a chance to challenge for the win here.
Greg Biffle winning segment 1. We have 50 laps to go, and great moves from Casey Mears and Jimmy Johnson getting him up in the top 5. We'll get ready to go here from Daytona in a moment.
Getting set for the green flag for the second segment of the Budweiser Shootout. 50 laps this time. It will include a pit stop. The cars can't go that far on fuel. Green flag, Greg Biffle. And a side-by-side restart. Now has Jimmy Johnson right alongside. Johnson looking for the lead as they go to turn 1.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He has Casey Mears in the 41 behind him. Casey was part of the reason that pushed Jimmy Johnson up to the front. But look at Tony Stewart in the 20 on the high side with no help behind him.
With that 16 car, look at him accelerate off the second turn over there. He's got some gear laid up in that thing.
And pull away from Ryan Newman.
Yeah, he got a real shot. I think shot off a turn too. I like that. That's a nice car. I like that car.
This is the 5th year this race has been at the 70-lap distance. It has never had less than 6 different leaders or 6 lead changes at that distance. Tonight only Dale Jarrett and Biffle have led so far. Tony Stewart went from 4th all the way back to about 14th in 1 lap.
One thing I noticed right here, Tony Stewart made a run to that outside, guys, but the problem is I don't think he's got the grip he needed. Even when Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt tried to line up behind him, he fell way to the back, so something definitely wrong with that 20 car. He may have a lot of debris on those tires.
Yeah, Jeff, it looked like he didn't have any grip and not a lot of help either one. I think that's what kicked him all the way back there.
I think it's that little restrictor plate or that smaller plate, Jeff. It seems like these guys are saying when you have to lift, you just lose so much momentum. That's what happened to the 24 car. One thing I don't like, what I'm seeing, Ryan Newman is bumping Greg Biffle up in the middle of the corner, and that is not a good idea.
Stewart fighting his way back through the middle in that orange number 20.
I think it was Jeff Gordon that said, you know, it takes so long to recover once you have to lift out of the throttle. And when you're in there, like Tony was a minute ago, you got to lift.
Darryl, right now, it looks like the bottom line is prevailing, but that could be due to those fresh tires right now.
I like the bottom, Larry. I mean, you got the yellow line to your left, so they can't go below the yellow line and pass you. Make them go to the outside and block them when they do.
Here's Matt.
Jeff Gordon working the outside. His team told him it will give Jeff a 5-lap warning before they want him to pit. That way he has the opportunity to work his way to the bottom. Now some deals have already taken place and some are still in the works. Jimmy Elledge was talking to Ryan Newman's crew chief Matt Borland while the 24 of Gordon and the 48 of Johnson are all planning to pit together as well.
The most important thing is to find out when the guy in the pit boxes around you are coming in, and try not to come down pit road with somebody in a pit box in your way.
That will keep that congestion down I was talking about.
Here's Jeannie on the leader.
And already some concern, I guess we could say, not overwhelmingly, but trying to plan for this pit stop coming, because there is a problem either with the hub or the stud in that left rear area. They're trying to get that left rear tire on before, and they really just had to jam it on. So they've already decided with that next pit stop to be overly aggressive, because they could have a problem there, and they do not want to lose time. Dick?
I'll follow through on Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has just referred to his car as junk.
But I'm going to go back to what Jeannie was talking about. That may force Doug Richards' hand, the crew chief for that car, to maybe just do 2 right side tires for fear they're going to have a problem with that left rear coming off.
If you've got a really good handling race car, you might be able to slip 2 tires on there. But what happens, Larry, if you get way out there, it's not going to do you any good. You need to take 4 tires.
Or you need several friends with you to take 2 tires.
Ryan Newman, the Alltel Dodge, in second behind Greg Biffle's National Guard Ford, and from there on it's double file all the way back.
You see Ryan moving over. He wants to pick Jimmy Johnson up as a drafting partner because he knows that they work pretty well together.
I do believe they fixed the problem on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car, though, but he's still working his way back to the front. Remember, he started back in about 18th or 19th. He's up to 15th now.
Did you see Kurt Busch?
He was right down to the apron.
He was down there, and he made the pass.
Greg Biffle, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman lead the Budweiser Shootout after 25 laps. Greg Biffle continues to lead. The action's back here. Tony Stewart either got into somebody or into the wall. He's buffed all the lettering off the right rear tire on his number 20, and I think he and Casey Mears may have come together nose to tail rather sharply.
And the car, the 20 car is moving around a lot, like it may have a problem.
Let's have a look. There's Stewart right in the middle of things.
Oh, Junior got him. Yeah, Junior got him and run him up the hill at that little boot getting into 3. Got him into the left front of Casey Mears. And Tony's got quite a bit of damage to the right rear of that car.
Junior made the tap and then traveled on. Here's Matt.
You saw the video. Casey Mears felt the bump. He's concerned about that left front fender. He told his team, take a look and make sure I don't have any damage to where I may have a chance of cutting down that tire.
Had that kind of incident on the last lap of the ARCA race earlier today and ended up with 2 or 3 cars upside down.
Well, the big concern is when you make contact like that, is it going to hurt the tire to where it'll go down on you, like, as he said, will it blow out or will something bad happen?
Well, I know what else Dale Earnhardt Jr. and 8 cars about to make contact with, and that's the front of this pack. He is already up to the 5th position in coming. He has help from Mark Martin in the 6th car.
They're trying to move around Ryan Newman and close down on that purple 97 of Kurt Busch.
You know, if you think back to 2 years ago, remember Dale Jr. down here had a battery go bad in the 500 and got a lap down, and of course that's the race where it rained and he never got a chance to make it up, but he had the fastest car. Looks like he's got a lucky break again tonight.
Jeff Gordon can't catch a break. He's stuck right in the middle of traffic as the deal making begins.
And the reason this deal making is going is because we are probably about 12, 13 laps from, I think, that window when these guys will start making that pit stop. You want someone to come with you, but as Darrell was talking about, you want someone to do the same thing that you do, whether it's 2 tires or 4 tires. Dick, is that what's going on?
Scott Deal was just down here. He's from Tony Stewart's pit. He was down in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit talking to the new crew chief, Pete Rondo. It is well known that Stewart and Earnhardt work extremely well together. So I asked Deal if he's trying to make a deal to pit together. And he just looked at me and smiled and said, well, we're kind of talking to everybody. And have you noticed, by the way, the car Junior called junk is moving through the field.
He is that, Dick. He's up to the 5th position.
And you're riding with him alongside Ryan Newman for 4th place.
Well, a bad DEI car down here has always been a little bit better than everybody else's. That's all I know.
Co-opetition. I think it's a noun, but we'll accept it as a verb. Since you made it up, it's whatever you want it to be, right?
I think it's a verb.
Something tells me that wasn't the definition you were thinking about.
Yeah, it is close enough. I hadn't really come up with a definition yet. I just know the word.
Steve.
John,
Mike, just listening to Kurt Busch, he said he's starting to run a little bit hot. Remember, I said they added a piece of tape to the grill. He just said his water temperature is up to 250 degrees.
And Steve, as long as it don't climb any more, that will be okay as long as it stabilizes. But there's no question that's one of the things the crew chief gets aggressive with is putting the tape on the nose because it helps the car go through the air, but it hurts the airflow to the radiator to cool the water.
And these systems they run on these cars now are what they call a closed system. So he's not going to lose any water, and they can perform at that kind of temperature and not have a problem.
Greg Biffle out in front. He's been to victory lane here in Daytona before. And he and his crew talked over what they might do on the pit stop and when.
Doug, I know you don't want to say anything, but it's when we get into this deal, when you want it done, just say on whatever, and that's how I'll know. All right, Tim Bohr, we'll be in contact with the 6 and the 97, and those guys, you know. As long as we got us 3 or 4 people to come in with where we won't get hung out there by ourselves, I think we'll be all right.
Doug Richard is crew chief talking about his Roush Racing teammates.
And Darrell, you made a green flag pit stop here at Daytona. When you've got this big of a pack of cars, it is treacherous getting on the pit road and concentrating getting down to 55 miles per hour, but not giving anything up.
Yeah, and you'd like to have the element of surprise. You'd like to be able to not let somebody know when you're coming to pit road, but you can't afford to do that. You'll get run over.
Pit stops likely when we come back. We are halfway in the Budweiser Shootout. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
The Budweiser Shootout on Fox is brought to you by Budweiser, the bright color and crisp, clean taste you'll only find in the king of beers, Budweiser. We're glad to have you along on Fox's first night of racing. We kick off the 2005 NASCAR season. Greg Biffle picking up where he left off, shooting out to the lead in the second segment. And Jeff Hammond, as we take a look and get ready for pit stops, important to stay on that inside line, because if not, you're going to have trouble as you get closer to those pit stops.
Yeah, as a crew chief, you need to let your driver know ahead of time so you get to the inside line. You try to make a move on the pit road from the outside in, you will get yourself in trouble. The other thing is make sure your driver gets a little bit of heat in the brakes, because he's got to get it slowed down to get on pit road, not get caught for speeding. And then the team's got to go to work and execute.
Yeah, this is the first test under fire for these crews as they get ready for it.
It really is right there. Again, you see Scott Deal from the 20 car trying to make a deal with the, look like Pete Rondo from the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. So a lot of deals, a lot of strategy right now going. Everybody's getting loosened up. You see members of Ryan Newman team kind of stretching everything out. A lot of the guys kind of pumping each other up. They realize this is where they can win or lose this race. It's a matter of getting on and off pit road.
And Jimmy Johnson currently running second. Tony Stewart ended segment 1 in 6th place, dropped back shortly after the start.
And this here looks like maybe a member of Robert Yates' team. That may be Doug Yates talking to Jimmy Finnick, talking to Kurt Busch's crew chief right there, trying to figure out what they're going to do. Again, maybe talking strategy, maybe talking fuel mileage, a little bit of everything trying to come into play here, which is a good tune-up for a lot of these teams for coming up this upcoming Thursday for the 150s, but more importantly for the 500.
And Kurt Busch, of course, the points champion from last year, currently running third. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
What that first group, that second group right there better be worried about is not when they're going to pit, but how they're going to catch back up with these front 5 right here, because they are inching away.
And I was going to say about the top 5, I think the best strategy they could have with having that kind of a lead is for those 5 cars to pit together.
Come together.
Greg Biffle trying to become the 5th driver to win the shootout in his first appearance, joining Buddy Baker, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Jarrett as rookie winners of NASCAR's pole winners all-star race. 42 down, 28 to go, 27 to go when they come by, so we're in the fuel window. But what about tires?
Well, I just believe at the end of the day, we talk about handling here so much. that 4 tires are going to be the way to win this race. But don't forget about Greg Biffle, who has a strong, good handling race car. Trouble with the left rear tire. But what he's going to, I think, depend on, we only have one set of teammates in this top 5, Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch. As long as Doug Richard, Biffle's crew chief, can get Jimmy Finney, Kurt Busch's crew chief, to do the same strategy, then that'll be okay.
This is classic Daytona. Those 5 cars in front can run wide open, and they're pulling away. The next 3 behind them are chasing them down. They probably got pretty good handling cars now, but handling is the key now, holding it wide open all the way around.
There's Doug Richard, and I thought I saw Tommy Baldwin, Casey Kane's crew chief, going over to him. How about the defending champion of this race, Steve?
Yeah, Mike, just to update our pole sitter and defending champ, Dale Jarrett, his car has been extremely tight all night long. At the break, they added a spring rubber to the left front spring, but he is still tight in that race car. Also a 3-time winner of the Daytona 500.
Now those 3 cars right behind the top 5, they were lined up, which is Brian Vickers in the 25, his teammate Jeff Gordon in the 24, and Mark Martin in the 6. In about a half a lap, they caught that front 5.
And that's good news for Jimmy Johnson in the 48 running second. Now he's got teammates that could come to the pit road together.
2 teammates. And now Mark Martin, remember, he had teammates of Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch up there.
An 8-car string. Then Joe Nemechek and Bobby Labonte, and now the whole field is trying to get single file in hopes of keeping tabs on the leaders.
That's the only way you will keep tabs on the leader.
But this is because they've all been told we're within a certain number of laps of pitting. Let's get ourselves in position. In position means get single file.
But I can't iterate enough what Jeff Hammond was talking about. When we come down to this pit stop, these guys know it's a one-shot deal. You hope you have to make no adjustments, and you have to be on your game on this pit stop.
Yeah, and the big problem you got is getting on pit road. When you come off the track, you run 190 miles an hour, you got to whoa that thing down and have it down to 55 at the commitment line.
And Darrell, if you're thinking about 2 tires, your driver cannot slide those left side tires and flat spot them. You'll be in real trouble.
The most important thing about the whole sequence, make no mistakes.
And that's a lot to ask the guys that haven't made a green flag pit stop since last November.
Matt?
Chad Knaus just told Jimmy Johnson, pit next time by. His teammate Jeff Gordon concerned about fluid on the windshield. They will pull a tear off. Guys, what will ease the congestion on pit road? Unlike a normal race, there are open stalls between each pitting car.
And Matt, what Jimmy Johnson's doing, Chad Knaus, they're going to take advantage of fresh tires at the most, splitting the run down the middle. Steve.
Larry Mack, the 97 of Kurt Busch is going to come in this time, as is Greg Biffle in the 16. Kurt Busch said his temperature is up to 260 degrees.
1 car in the grass is Vickers. They're 4 wide coming past the commitment line.
Greg Biffle in the 16, he slid the tires just like Rusty Wallace in the 2 and Brian Vickers as well.
Kurt Busch getting service. They will make a 4-tire stop. They took a piece of tape off the grill to cool it down. Jeannie.
Well, serious discussion in the 16 pit of Greg Biffle what to do about the tires. A problem with that left rear side. Crew chief Doug Richard saying we're going for 4, guys. We're going for 4. Matt?
The 12 is already away. The 19's away. Jimmy Johnson picks up 4 tires. His car was a touch loose in places. He'll have the 8 car, Dick, right behind him leading pit road.
Yeah, Junior took 4 tires, but the 12 of Ryan Newman took just 2, so he left the pits a lot earlier.
11 cars stopped on this lap. One of them, Brian Vickers, is still there. Not sure if he's being held by the NASCAR official or if they're still working on that car. Or did he break it? Let's see. Watch that black 25 as everybody locks them up here.
They're trying to get down to 55 miles per hour at that cone. And I think that right there is what changed Doug Richards' mind. Hey, I have to change 4 now. He slid the left side tires in the 16.
Now to update you on this next lap, only 1 car stopped, Ken Schrader.
I think they're holding Vickers because he came. This was too hot coming over pit road. Got in the grass, and they're holding for that.
See him right there sliding those tires, trying to make sure, trying to get single file as well as down to 55 miles per hour.
And he actually blew the right front tire out.
Now on this lap, no one stopped. Now, cars can get lapped just as they can when you make a green flag pit stop in a regular distance race.
And we anticipate that those other cars right there, they can probably run another 7 to 8 laps, at least on fuel.
A broken axle on Brian Vickers, that will likely take him out of this race. 7 drivers have yet to pit. Bobby Labonte, as you see him alongside Rusty Wallace there, his Labonte's teammate Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, Casey Mears, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, and Dale Jarrett have yet to pit. Jeremy Mayfield is in, and here come most of the rest of them, including the Joe Gibbs teammates.
Now, this is a second pit stop for Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. He was in a while ago as well.
But he didn't stop. Drive-through penalty, I believe, for Mayfield.
There's that mistake right there. Yep. It takes him right out of the race.
Rudd is in, Stewart, Kane, Labonte. Jeannie?
Well, Tony Stewart has been on the radio saying, let's make a deal with somebody, especially the 24, because I believe the 20, myself, the 24 are the fastest cars out here. Of course, getting the fuel and 4 tires, guys.
I tell you what, you're right, Larry. Look how far Newman is out here, and they don't have a lot of time to chase him down.
Well, they don't. Ryan Newman in the 12, remember, he changed 2 tires, and right now he has about a 3/4 of a second lead.
Only 2 cars have not stopped, and here they come. Casey Mears and Bill Elliott will be the last 2 to visit pit road.
And those cars back there lined up, they have 20 laps to run him down. And it's quite a deficit, but remember, he's out there by himself, and he's running quite a bit slower than those guys.
Brian Vickers is pushed to the garage where he'll join Jeff Bodine. Pit stops complete. Now we'll run to the checkers.
The Budweiser Shootout on Fox brought to you by new M3 Power from Gillette. Feel the power of the world's best shave. By Subway. Experience the new great taste of a fresh toasted sub today. Subway, eat fresh. And by Chevy, the winningest name in racing, an American revolution. Also by Visa, proud sponsor of NASCAR. So with Brian Vickers off the track and in the garage, where Jeffrey Bodine is, the youngest and oldest. And let's take, Larry just mentioned a moment ago, let's look at Ryan Newman in the 12 car. Remember, Jeff Hammond took 2 tires.
Yeah, 2 tires, and right now they are, they're eating his lunch. Ryan's running about 49-second lap, and Jimmy Johnson, that whole pack behind him, they're down in the 47-50 range, so they're coming on him in a hurry. So when they get to him, I believe they're going to blow right on by, and they're going to say, see you later, alligator. And Jimmy Johnson's going to be headed to the front. Chris, early in the broadcast, you talked about 5 times the winner of this race. Somebody's going to, all of a sudden here, he's going to the outside, going to the inside, being followed by Greg Biffle. I think this is going to be bad news once again for Ryan Newman as Kurt Busch gets underneath him, drops back to 3rd. There comes Jeff Gordon. So those 2 tires and that strategy right now looks like it's going to come back to haunt these guys. But for Jimmy Johnson, it looks like maybe if he can go on and win this race, it may catapult him into a championship run. It's happened 6 times for the winner of the Bud Shootout.
All right, so Jimmy Johnson, the leader, followed by Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch. Let's rejoin Mike, Larry, and Darrell.
Darrell, 3 laps ago, Ryan Newman had a 3.7-second lead. Was he anything but a sitting duck all alone out there by himself?
Yeah, that's what you know. You can't hold off a pack of cars running 47.50 and you're running 49 flat. The big thing he had to do was find a place to do what we said last night, blend in. He's blending in there now. Maybe he can hang on to a top 5 or 6 spot, but more likely those 2 tires are just going to send him to the back.
And Darrell, he was lucky to be able to blend in 5th position, but now it's 2 tires on his car versus all these other cars with 4 tires.
Well, let's go to the new leaders pit. Here's Matt.
Picking up radio conversation from the 97. They just warned Jimmy Johnson that the 97 of Kurt Busch may try to make a move, and the 16 as well, on a corner exit. They told him to watch his mirror.
Well, it seems like the 16 has been really strong, particularly off of turn 2. And now that he's got a helper, but let me tell you, the old orange car there, the 24 with the flames on it, if he can get up in there, he and Jimmy Johnson would be hard to overcome.
And the first car in the outside lane, Dale Jr., trying to work his way back into the top 5.
You know, Junior's car looks like it, now that it's fixed, the longer it runs, the better it gets. Seems like he falls back a little bit with the 4 new tires, but now it starts to come up, working good on the outside for him.
And Greg Biffle in the 16, he has his teammate Kurt Busch in the 97 trying to push him down that back straightaway. And just remember, this is not big picture racing. This is all about winning. Nobody remembers, nobody cares who finishes second.
Darrell finished second in this 3 times. I remembered that.
Yeah, I like that.
You didn't remember it. You looked it up.
Here comes Busch looking now to the outside of Biffle, and he almost swirled Biffle up.
Uh-oh, look
inside. Got 12 with him. On that 12. Get in there.
He did, but Bobby Labonte is further to the inside.
Yeah, he timed that bump draft at the wrong place, the wrong time. That wasn't a good spot.
And right now, Kurt Busch in the 97's caught in the middle without any help at all. They're blowing by him inside and outside.
There's no question he had to lift a little bit off the 4 there, and when he did, to the back he went.
You get down around 10 to go, and you have no friends. "60 laps complete in the Budweiser Shootout of 2005. 61 right here at the stripe. Jimmy Johnson has 9 laps to go. And toward mid-pack, Darrell, turn 2 last lap was almost Calamity Corner.
Well, they're getting really, you can tell that time's running out here. Everybody's starting to get a little desperate, making some pretty erratic moves here. Watch this off of 2, starting down the back. Bam, bam. That's just good driving on everybody's part to hang on to them.
Kurt Busch, Casey Kane, Mark Martin, all trading paint.
That 9 car is just a little bit out of control, I think.
Ricky Rudd sent below the line by some of the dancing around there in mid-pack.
But I don't think he advanced the position. In fact, he looked like he lost several positions because last time by he was running in 5th position. Rudd in the 21 car.
See Dale Jr. move over next to those cars. That's called side drafting. And he's getting a pull off of the 21 on the inside. He moves over and gets a pull on the other car off the outside. Dale Sr. was the best I'd ever seen doing that. I never heard of it till he explained it to me one day at 190 miles an hour.
Dale Jr.'s got a bit of a handful there. Wow, the pack tightens up right there.
Yeah, we still have 15 cars running within about a second of each other. 7 to go next time by.
Yeah.
And I think what Jimmy Johnson is doing in that 48 car, just what Dale Jarrett in the 88 did a year ago. He'll hug the bottom of that racetrack.
Yeah, and Greg Biffle, no matter what Greg does, you know where Jeff Gordon's going.
He'll fill the hole he
That's
opens.
exactly right. So pretty much he's going to run second unless he wants to take a chance.
Yeah, the cars in front and behind Greg Biffle's second place machine are teammates at Hendrick Motorsports, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. I think Biffle is settled in right where he wants to be to the last lap and have one last best chance. He doesn't want to move out of second place now.
I just don't think you can make that kind of a move. You got to have somebody help you. He's got no help. So I just don't think you can do it by yourself. He can get up there and mess himself up and finish about 10th, but I don't think he can make the pass for the lead.
Now here's Biffle's teammate Kurt Busch, posted in 6th. Can't get up close enough to be of any help to Biffle.
But one thing I wouldn't do, I would not wait until the last lap. If I'm going to make a move and I'm going to try to win the race and not worry about where I finish, I'm going to take them by surprise.
But just remember, 4 laps ago it was Kurt Busch in the 97 back there beating and banging on the back straightaway. And there he's back up almost in the top 5.
It's just it's offense and defense. Right now the car in front is on defense. Everybody else is on offense.
I think the wild card here is Newman in the 12 because that's the one car that's been able to move on the outside without a whole lot of help.
Without the help of 2 extra tires like everyone else.
We'll see.
And he has help from his Dodge friend back there, Casey Mears, in the 41 car, who's been real strong. Casey's car really runs off the corner good.
Yeah, as a young driver, he seems to get himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. But he's got a pretty fast car.
5 to go.
Oh, look at Jeff Gordon. He took a look to the inside. Did he make it?
Yes.
He's got the nose there, and Biffle's got to let him go.
And Bobby Labonte in 18 is trying to follow Jeff Gordon through in the 24. He takes away 3rd as well.
Jeff Gordon knows that move down into turn 1. He pulled it on Rusty Wallace here a few years ago to win the 500.
Well, now you got to beat the Quinella of the 2 Hendrick teammates, nose to tail.
My daddy always said the cake's all dough. I never knew
What's
what it
that
meant.
mean?
It means it's over.
You'll find that right after co-opetition.
That's right. Co-op, not what. Here he comes. He's trying to get back up there.
Kurt Busch to the inside of the 97.
4 to go. Biffle in that 16. He's not going to give up just yet.
Boy, if Kurt Busch could get up there, that could be trouble. Can't quite clear that 12 car on the outside.
As a car owner, Rick Hendrick has won this race 4 times, looking for number 5 with either Jimmy Johnson, currently first, or Jeff Gordon, who is second.
Well, I think one thing we've answered tonight about the DEI dominance and Hendrick, if they close the gap or not. It looks like the Hendrick cars have got a lot of steam. And whoa, who's looking to the outside?
Greg Biffle in the 16
Here
without any help. There's his teammate, and he takes second away from Gordon. He snookered him coming off.
He did. He got a run on him, and he got his teammate right there with him. And look out, boys, here I come. Oh, he's sideways.
Did
Kurt
Newman
Busch
get into him?
No, Busch got him plumb sideways.
Inside right there with 41.
Ryan Newman rockets toward the front, and here comes Tony Stewart from nowhere in the back of the pack, rim riding around the outside. Where does he think he is, Eldora?
That may be what Greg Biffle needs, though, in the 16 seat. Johnson in the 48 slams the door on the backstretch.
Never mind 3 doors down. Jimmy Johnson's got to be 3 lanes wide to hold on to this one.
Yeah, they're trying to beat the doors off of these things.
And coming right now, 2 to go. This is where the teammate procedure is wiped out. No longer.
Your teammate is whoever's right in front of you right
I tell
now.
you, it's unfortunate. Greg Biffle has a really fast car.
Here's Matt.
His spotter, Chris Osborne, keeps anticipating which group of cars, the bottom pack or the higher pack, has the better momentum. That's why Jimmy keeps dancing back and forth, trying to pick up whichever one is best.
Well, Matt, whichever one he opens up, especially if it's the bottom he opens up, Ryan Newman in the 12, I think he'll take advantage of it.
Jimmy Johnson has learned so much about drafting down here. A couple of years ago, he said, I don't know what I'm doing, and really knows what he's doing now.
Look at the push Jeff Gordon in the 24 car got from Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car down the backstretch. He'll be coming white flag next time by.
And trouble for Biffle that time. Entering turn 3, his car climbed the hill. He lost a lot of ground.
Tony Stewart tried to drop to the bottom. You saw Ryan Newman in the 12 blocked him there. White flag.
Money flag next.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He'll stay tucked to that yellow line all the way around this racetrack. He will not open the bottom.
That yellow line is his best friend. Just keep that car down low where they can't get under it. I don't think they've got the steam to do it.
Stewart looks low. He's got Gordon now up high. Gordon has Biffle. Jeff Gordon clawing his way toward the front.
Ryan Newman's
you in the 12. 12 jumped up top.
Jimmy's pulling away.
Yeah, he got those guys that Ryan had to block the 24 and gave Jimmy a little extra room there coming to the flag.
Jimmy Johnson wins the Budweiser Shootout in his 3rd appearance, and he will take Hendrick Motorsports to victory lane in this event for the 5th time.
I tell you, that's a darn good race.
Yes, it was.
Newlyweds there. Jimmy Johnson's wife Chandra married this past December. Way to start the year off.
Darrell, I talked to Chad Canals the other day, Jimmy Johnson's crew chief. He said, we worked hard on Daytona, but we didn't work real hard. We worked on all the other races. That could be bad news for the competition.
I tell you, I think they got the steam on the hood. Looked to me like the 24 and the 48 both.
Johnson finished 7th in the shootout in 2003 and 9th last year. What a run he had at the end of 2004 to come within 8 points of winning the Nextel Cup.
That's Rick and Chad right there. And
here's Matt.
Well, you just told this team the winning move was the move on pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we got a couple new players on our team on the pit crew, and those guys had an incredible pit stop, and they got us out in front of everybody else that took 4 tires. We knew when the 12 car took 2 that we'd be able to catch him pretty quick on the racetrack, and especially when he got out there by himself. And it was just the pit crew. They just did an incredible job.
What a way to start out Speed Week.
Yeah, it's my first victory here at Daytona. I'm pretty excited about it.
Congratulations.
Well,
guys,
jump up and down then. Come on, Chad, get with it.
Johnson the winner, Newman second by 0.2 of a second. Jeff Gordon third over Tony Stewart on the final lap. Biffle 5th. His teammate Kurt Busch 6th. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mark Martin, Casey Kane, Bobby Labonte. The top 10. And if you had a wish, it would be that John and Ricky Hendrick and Randy Dorton, Jeff Turner, and all of those lost in that tragic plane crash in Martinsville, Virginia last October could be here to see this.
And Mike, these guys were making, huge gains last year with the restrictor plate engines, and we know the captain that was guiding that engine department was Randy Dorton.
Off to a new victory lane. First time that a stock car has visited the brand new Gatorade victory lane here beneath the Daytona Club, a new 3-story structure at Daytona International Speedway, where the winner will be honored.
They're going to have to paint that road yellow or something. It's hard to, nobody knows how to get to victory lane.
Daryl, the victory lane may be different new, but the sweetness is just the same.
Oh, there's nothing like going to Victory Circle at Daytona Beach, I'm telling you. Something you never forget. Special moment.
You won this race in your 3rd try.
Yeah, this race used to be, you know, it had a pit stop, but it was no brakes or anything. You ran 125, 50 miles, whatever it was. And that was a tough deal. Tonight, I tell you, guys lucked out. Dale Jr. lucked out by having that 20 lap and having a break. So did Mark Martin. It's a good deal for them to get to work on their cars and make them better.
Pretty impressed, though, with Ryan Newman up there battling these guys with only 2 tires versus everyone else having 4.
Here's Steve.
With Ryan Newman. Ryan, gutsy call on your team's part, just 2 tires. You almost made it work.
Yeah, the 19 was on the same strategy. We just had nobody to work with there to stay out front a little bit longer at least, and didn't handle the best at the end there. But you know, Matt and everybody on the All-Tall Dodge Charger did a great job. Brand new Dodge Charger, and look forward to the rest of the speed weeks. That's the best and strongest we've been here, and hopefully our other race car, Daytona 500 car, will be better yet.
Ryan, did it feel comfortable? Did the car underneath you feel good?
Yes and no. I mean, he was getting buffeted around pretty good out there, and Jimmy did a great job. And I wouldn't have had a shot except for the 97, I think, making the 16 pretty loose there in a trial. Just fun race overall.
Mike Joy.
It's a pretty neat image there of Tony Stewart getting out of his car with a grin as big as the one painted on his helmet. He and Jeff Gordon sharing a laugh about a fun 70 laps. Dick Berggren.
With the winner. Come on out, Jimmy Johnson. There we go. Attaboy, what a way to start a season.
That's a great way to start a season. My first plate win. Too bad it's not the 500, but we'll see if we can't come back and do that again on Sunday. I think tonight really shows what all the hard work that's gone into these race cars at Hendrick Motorsports. Our engines, chassis, bodies, everything. And everybody's worked real hard all season long. And hey, man.
Your new bride.
And just to come and start the season off like this is awesome.
How much of those last few laps were with Chad Knaus as crew chief? How much of those last few laps were you watching out the windshield, and how much in your rear view mirror?
If they went down through the grass, I was going to go there because I wasn't looking out of the windshield. It was all in the mirror, just trying to use the brakes, use the guys behind me in a way to keep them back there and keep myself up front. Greg did a great job. Greg had a strong car, and really that pit stop meant everything. And whoever came out first was going to win the race, and my boys got it done again on pit road.
Did you see Tony Stewart coming?
I saw a few guys coming. I saw some smoke back there. I saw the 16 sideways once as well, so I know those guys were trying hard, and I know that I was choking them down with the brakes, trying to keep them bottled up behind me, and that's good news for the leader. It's bad for everybody else.
Hey, congratulations. Job well done. Let's go to G.D. Zelasco.
And, you know, I'm going to do something that seemed to be impossible today, sneak up on Tony Stewart. I'm sneaking up on you like you did everybody in this race. I was listening on the radio the whole night. You were telling everybody, hey, I got one of the fastest cars out here. With the 24, we just got to get together.
Yeah, Jeff had a good car, and we got together there finally, and we got him through one of the holes, and I got stuck in the hole, and that separated us. But my buddy Dale Jr., he got me one more spot at the end there, gave me a real good push right before the trial to get us to fourth. But we had a great car. We just kind of got hung out there at the beginning. We got such a good run on the start with Jeff and I, and then we got into one, and I went to the outside, and those guys stopped. Or Jeff went down to the bottom, so it just stopped us and put us all the way to the back, and it was hard to work our way back forward.
You mentioned you got a good push, but let's talk about a push that we saw earlier. It looked like Mr. Mears maybe made some contact. There was some thought maybe a tire was going down, at least from our perspective.
Yeah, I give him plenty of room.
Okay, I think you said enough there. It's a love fest, so we're going to go to the 24. And I'm sure he'll tell us how great it was working with you today as well.
Absolutely fabulous. No, I mean, you know, that's the thing about this style of racing. I mean, you got to run so hard with each other, and with the windshield, I was trying to give everybody a lot of room. It wasn't just Casey. Casey did a good job. This is his first Bud Shootout, so I thought he did a good job. I thought everybody had a good night. I mean, nobody really had any huge moments out there, so it's fun when you can take 20 of us like that and go out there and run a clean race like that.
Just for the record, when you can no longer see through it, it is no longer a windshield. Hey, Matt.
It was a good and bad night for Jeff Gordon. The good news, the car you co-own is in victory lane, and it looked like it was going to be a 1-2 finish there at one point.
Yeah, I was really hoping for that. You know, I thought we could stay right there together, and I, you know, certainly was going to try to make a run on that last lap, but wait as long as I could. And you know, it was everything I could do just to hold those guys out behind me. I thought the 16 car was probably the strongest car out there, it looked to me like. But Jimmy did a great job up there, you know, blocking and running his line and doing everything he needed to do. Had a good handling car. But, you know, I wanted to be 1-2, either him won or me won. But come up a little bit short with the DuPont Chevrolet, but real happy. You know, we got a really good one for tomorrow, and the rest of the week should be fun.
You got a hug by Tony Stewart when you got out of the car.
Yeah, I was surprised by that because he went wide one time up there, 1-2, and, you know, I just wanted to stay in the middle. I didn't want to go to the outside, and I had to let him go out there by himself, and I wanted to go with him, but he had the momentum, but I didn't, and we were bumping and banging and all over the place. So, you know, that's a sign of a true racer when you get out of the car and bump and bang like that, and you know, shake hands and smile and laugh about it.
Third place tonight for Jeff Gordon.
Jimmy Johnson, the Lowe's Chevrolet team celebrate in Daytona victory lane, and the stock car portion of Speed Weeks 2005 has begun. Pulling away from Ryan Newman at the finish, Jimmy Johnson wins by 0.2 of a second. More from Daytona after this.
The Budweiser Shootout has been brought to you by Budweiser, and the 2005 NASCAR season heating up here in Daytona. Let's listen in. Jimmy Johnson of the 48 car. Here's how he sounded crossing the finish line as the winner.
Yeah, guys, there's a way to start Speed Weeks. Woo! Boys, the reason we won that race right there is because of that pit stop. That pit stop won us the race.
Jeff Hammond, you said it.
Tell you right now, you got to have that teamwork. You got to have those great pit stops, and they did it tonight.
All right, a new record set for most laps led in the Budweiser Shootout. Greg Biffle led 44 laps. Our Steve Burns is standing by with him. Steve?
Yeah, Chris, he finished fifth. Greg, the other drivers are saying you had a fast race car. Was it a matter of not being able to get in the right position to get help?
Yeah, it was. You know, I was stuck up there between two Hendrick cars, and I was looking for Kurt, looking for some help in the mirror. And I know the 12 car will work with me, Ryan Newman, but, you know, I'm trying to get a run on a 48 with a 24 pushing me. It doesn't, you know, that's probably not going to work out very good. But what's exciting about this Bud Shootout here is I got a faster car for the 500, so I feel really good about it now. My 500 car is considerably better than that, so that's real encouraging for us.
All right, thanks a lot, Greg. Appreciate your patience. Back upstairs to Mike Joy.
Well, as we start the stock car portion of Speed Weeks, we learned a few things. Newman was fast, Biffle was fast, but just like last year, Jimmy Johnson prevailed in the pits, and that was the difference in winning this race.
Well, it's down to the same old story. It takes the total package. Driver, car, crew. Can't do it by yourself. So now we know who the contenders are. We had a little preview tonight. The big show is next Sunday afternoon.
You can't pass without help, and you can't win without a good stop.
Exactly, and I mean, of course, in the Daytona 500 next Sunday, they'll have more opportunities, but now we know if our hard work has prevailed. We've been up here since 2001 talking about the DEI dominance. We started seeing it last year. Looks like Hendrick Motorsports has the number, but pretty impressed with those two Fords of Kurt Busch and Greg Biffle.
But Darrell, you don't have to start out front to stay up front. Tony Stewart probably ran in front of and behind every one of the other 19 cars and marched his way up and back through the field this whole race.
That's what it's all about. That's why they call it a chess game, because you move up and you get there and you almost are there. You make the wrong move, you go back and you got to start all over again. We'll see that all day long. Somebody will get up there almost to the lead, but taking the lead away from somebody is very, very difficult.
And we'll see it all week long. 2 150s on Thursday, 300 miles for the Busch cars Saturday, and the Daytona 500 next Sunday. Chris?
All right, thanks, guys. Jimmy Johnson, he just didn't win a shootout here. Here's a guy who won 4 of the last 6 races last year, starts 17th. I think he felt like he could have won the championship last year. He's saying, I'm the guy this year.
Well, I think that's what you got to have right now. So one thing that comes out of a race like this tonight is that motivation. All of a sudden, Chad Canals, I mean, you look how calm and cool he was. He just won a huge race, the first race of the year. Even though it didn't count any points, motivation has a lot to do with it, a lot of emotion. I think Jimmy Johnson showed that when he was congratulating his team and saying, guys, I couldn't have done it without you. And that's what it's going to take, a team effort, and they're showing that early on.
The 29-year-old from California, and a real quick, we saw, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr. about that working together, a kind of a tip-off of what we're going to see at the Daytona 500, guys working with each other at least until the finish.
I think you're going to see a lot of that right there, and you mentioned those cars in particular. Think about it. They were all GMs, Chevrolets in particular, as far as they're working together, trying to push themselves up toward the front. But we also saw where basically the 97 and the 16 worked together.
All right, Fox, FX, and Speed. The coverage of Speed Weeks continuing tomorrow on Fox, qualifying for the Daytona 500.